There you go.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Happy to end this great conference today with another fantastic company. Please welcome VSBLTY Groupe Technologies, trades on the OTC Pink sheets under the symbol VSBGF, as well as on the CSE under the symbol VSBY, and is the world leader in proactive digital display, which transforms retail and public spaces as well as place-based media networks with SaaS-based audience measurement and security software that uses artificial intelligence and machine learning. Please welcome the president and CEO of VSBLTY Group, Jay Hutton. Welcome, Jay.
Thank you, Anna.
All right, the floor is yours whenever you're ready.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And thank you all for attending. I'm going to advance really quickly to my first slide. But before I get going, the first thing I want to say is the robots are not taking over. I entitled this presentation Rise of the Machines, a little bit tongue-in-cheek, because frequently artificial intelligence and computer vision can be conflated or confused with robots achieving consciousness. Well, that may be a possibility sometime in the distant future. VSBLTY will not play a role in that. We're not playing a role in that. That's not part of what our mission or direction is. We are, however, using artificial intelligence to provide for some specific applications in both retail and security, and I'm here today to talk to you about them. As I prepared for this little talk, I had my middle son staring over my shoulder, who happens to be in the film business. And he quite correctly pointed out to me that, Dad, Rise of the Machines was Terminator 3. It's not got anything to do with what you're doing. And I said he was correct, and I confirmed that he was correct. And I said, son, well, you're in the right theater, but you're in the wrong movie. So a lot of people, when I explain what we're doing, they refer quickly to this movie that was done in the late 90s.
A road diverges in the desert. Lexus. The road you're on, John Anderton, is the one less traveled. Make sure you
Good evening, John. You can move the old-fashioned John Anderton. 21 stands provides gourmet cuisine. John Anderton. You can use a Guinness right about now.
Stressed out, John Anderton?
Escape from it all, Harrison. Get away, John Anderton. Forget your troubles.
In this movie, well, here we are at 2021 after a difficult and confusing year, and I'm here to tell you that reality is here and at our doorstep. This is precisely what VSBLTY does, among the other things that we do, and we sit in this category known briefly, or at least on a summary basis, as advanced computer vision and artificial intelligence. So today, I'm going to be speaking about who we are, what computer vision is, and why is it so critical to the marketplaces that we serve, the challenges faced by traditional bricks and mortar, and how artificial intelligence, oddly, is a resolution to some of those issues, and how that's changing the landscape of retail. I'm going to talk a little bit about the market size, and then I'm going to pivot to computer vision and security, talk a little bit about some of the major progress we've had in Mexico City, talk at the end about some milestones, and of course about the share capital of the company. I'll move at a pretty good pace in order to fit within the time available and to tell the story in a complete fashion. Proactive digital display, what is that? Anna said at the opening that we are a leader, or the leader in that category, and really what that is it's digital display, signage, video screens. We all know about what those are. But adding to that computer vision gives signage measurement. And so signage itself is interesting, and we all see it every day, but we haven't really seen it impact retail or sort of penetrate retail in a meaningful fashion. Well, the reason why it hasn't done that is it hasn't been measurable. What would you do to measure the performance of digital display in retail other than use computer vision to perform that function? The internet is monetizable, is revenue generating because it is measurable. And so it did okay for Google. Google was able to figure out how that worked. And so visibility, even though it might sound a bold statement, visibility brings to bricks and mortar that which Google brought to the internet. Comprehensive real-time analytics achieved through computer vision to identify for PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble, Unilever, the number of people that see their display, the breakdown by age, by gender, by sentiment, happy or unhappy, and of course their specific movements within the store. And so that's what computer vision does. And of course, we're delighted to be a leader among them. Some examples of what we've done and how we're doing it. We take specific form factors within the store. We digitize that form factor. We augment that with camera, computer vision, and we provide analytics in real time. So if PepsiCo were to launch an energy drink in Lower Manhattan and they wanted to target that energy drink to 25-year-old males, we could in retail and in real time deploy that advertisement whenever a 25-year-old male is seen within the aisle. In addition to that, we provide PepsiCo an analysis. On Thursday, between 2:30 and 5:30, we saw 1,250 males between 25 and 35, and we played this advertisement. If anybody on the web stream understands how Google and Google Analytics works, we speak in that domain about page views and unique visitors and all that language. We're bringing that language or elements of that language to retail to create for the first time a bona fide retail media channel. And it's the most valuable media channel, not only because its measurements are more granular, more refined. It's not the same as an internet page view, because actually you don't know if somebody brought up the ESPN website and then walked away from their computer. So you may be judging that dwell time, 55 seconds, a minute and a half, erroneously. In retail, we use computer vision to provide specific and auditable measurement. And the reason why that's valuable is when we do that, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, Procter & Gamble, all the major brands that I mentioned before are gravitating to that media channel because it's a measurable channel, it's an interactive channel, and engages their customer directly at the point of sale. The point of sale is the best place to deliver an advertising impression because that's where people can buy that which is being promoted to them. So retail is waking up to the reality that their space, their physical space, is monetizable as an advertising medium. I heard someone say, perhaps with some hyperbole or tongue-in-cheek, that there are more impressions in Kroger in the USA than there is on Super Bowl Sunday. It's really an interesting topic because if you think about the value of that advertising medium, I'm not sure the math works, but you're getting 6 or 7 times the number of people that see a Super Bowl ad. You're seeing that in a Kroger annually. And I would imagine that's the reason why advertising is getting significantly more valuable in the retail space, because comparatively speaking, it's a better bang for your buck. So what visibility, I'm sorry, I should back up one to this slide, talking briefly about them. I'm trying to speak quickly to time here. Visibility is in 2 marketplaces, retail, which of course has a compound growth rate of 8 to 10%, and security, which I'll talk about in just a moment. Of course, an equally compelling growth rate in the security space. Here's an interesting factoid that I thought was really interesting in the security space. Today, the USA marketplace for security services is worth about $100 billion annualized. It's growing within the next 2 years, based upon this metric, between 180 and $200 billion. That growth rate, which is basically a doubling of that market, is 80 to 90% in artificial intelligence. Gone are the days we're putting dumb CCTV cameras in place at places where security is required. And what I mean by dumb cameras, it's not meant to be biased in any way, but in the past, CCTV networks, cameras, are forensic in nature. They can tell you how many horses have escaped the barn after they've escaped the barn. They can figure out, for investigative purposes, what might have occurred. But they can't provide predictive. They can't provide prevention. And the problem that we have in the security world is we have hundreds of thousands or millions of cameras, And we're connecting those to control centers, which have a modest number of operators, people monitoring the views. They're there to understand what has happened after it's happened. With artificial intelligence, we can teach the computers to interpret the video streams for anomalous activity, a car crash, a fight, a person of interest, a person that's been banned from the facility, a weapon. So these are really valuable, especially in the world that we live in today. These are valuable metrics that move us from a place where we're reacting to where we're proacting. We're actually anticipating. We're using the video to offset humans and augment humans, give human beings something to act upon. So Visibility is in the business of delivering 3 software solutions. Data Capture is our anonymous analytics. It's a privacy compliant analytics package used in retail principally. Vision Capture is our, what I like to call PowerPoint on steroids. It's a content management system that's meant to govern and articulate and manage all the pieces of content delivery in retail. And of course, Vector, which is our security. The Vector does persons of interest, facial recognition, license plate detection, car crash detection, dwell time, audience measurement, all those metrics, which of course are gathered up, including weapons detection, if I didn't mention that. All those things are gathered up in a security envelope. I mentioned this before, but we've got a short little video that talks about this, Store as Media, and it actually runs you through the typical applications. The Store as Media actually is buttressed and supported by the largest deal the company's ever done. I'm actually going specifically outside of category now and speaking directly of how this particular growth in this category, which by the way is ridiculously explosive at the moment, it has been evidenced by a very large deal we signed just last month and are deploying right now with AB InBev. AB InBev is Anheuser-Busch. They're one of the largest brands in the world, but what a lot of people don't know about them is they also own 9,000 retail locations in Mexico and have influence as a buying group over an additional 41,000 locations in South and Central America. The deal we've done is 50,000 store rollout over the next 4 years, deploying our technology, visual display, audience measurement, and security, because if you run a convenience store in Latin America, you have a security concern. So all of those put together to develop that advertising network so that PepsiCo can go in and say, I want to buy advertising across all 9,000 stores in Mexico, or all 700 stores in Ecuador, or all 1,200 stores in Colombia. These become valuable networks that the large brands want to buy as a way of re-vectoring spend from traditional forms of media like print or broadcast into this brand new form of media, which of course is compelling. For visibility, we have both a license revenue stream from this contract, but also a participation in the joint venture, which will be constituted in the next 30 to 45 days, and we'll be a participant on the media side. The numbers are staggering. It's the largest network by orders of magnitude in the world, and for visibility, as you can see, we climbed to about $10 million in license revenue after year 4, and the overall value to the joint venture in terms of media is between 200 and 250 million on an annualized basis in year 4. And of course, our participation on that as an equal 1/3 partner is significant. So we're delighted about that. It's an exciting and important deal for us. I'm going to go quickly to this here. I wanted to put this in for a couple of reasons. Date. What's really unique about this application in Mexico City is its grassroots deployment. It is community-based. So it's not Big Brother law enforcement putting in place a surveillance network to manage and maintain control over the citizens. It's actually not that at all. It is a citizen initiative that is sort of ground up, where we're actually deploying cameras in neighborhoods. Those cameras are controlled and managed by communities, and if they wish, they can share that video with law enforcement to engage in some sort of interdiction. We're delighted because of our closeness with our partners in Mexico City, and also, of course, our long-serving partner, Intel, who have helped us optimize that network, deploy that network. And now, as we're looking to deploy this in other Latin American and global countries, that's underway at the moment. Part of what I talk about when I speak about visibility is a little bit about our theory, or how we go to market. We're not building out a sales force ourselves, even though we have a sales force. My objective is not to build 200 or 300 persons in a sales force with global reach, dealing directly with the end user customers. That's not our objective. Our objective, has always been our objective, is to find and identify and secure large global players. And on this particular slide, we display or we share some of those players. Of course, not limited to this group, but these are the key participants. Sensormatic is is the retail technology division of Johnson Controls. It's actually the largest retail technology company in the world, 104 countries, and distributed across the footprint of the world. Energetica is our large Mexico City partner. A couple others I want to mention really quickly here on this slide is WestRock, which is an S&P component company. They are traditionally a cardboard company that made display manufacturing without digital for retail. And they are our exclusive partner as we develop their digital portfolio. We're alive and in revenue with almost all of these partners at the moment, but of course our philosophy, it might be obvious, we're bringing the agility and innovation of a small science-based company to these large distribution companies. They benefit us because they give us reach. We benefit them because we have great technology and innovation. So there's something in it for both participants. In terms of what we're looking for in the short term, Q2, we've got 2 large system integrators, which will be announced very soon here, most notably to support our scale requirements and some of the big deals we've landed, and those I've shared with you already. Global product announcement with a one of the largest server manufacturers in the world, which of course is important for us because again, that broadens our reach. And then launching camera as a service, which we think will happen at the back end of Q2, and a national footprint with Stories Media. A little bit on the company's share capitalization, and then I'll conclude really quickly here. We're trading between 65 and 70 cents a share, which is an imputed value in the 100 to 100 million Canadian dollars. I guess 80 to 85 million USD, and around about 160 million shares issued and outstanding. So thank you for your time. I don't know if I've ever gone that quickly, but I would summarize VSBLTY as we've toiled away for 3 or 4 years building the category and being an innovator in the category and really broadly recognized as such. And our 2020 revenues were up considerably over 2019. And in 2021, that's the year of inflection. We'll bill on a recognized revenue basis between 5 and 7 million this year, and we will build a bookings backlog between 12 and 18 million this year. And that is, for us, a significant inflection. All of that's visible to us now, buoyed in no small measure to this big deal we did and are doing in South America, but not exclusively that. A couple of others that have not yet been announced that are sort of equally sizable in terms of their strategic impact on the organization. Thanks for your time, and I guess I'll turn it over back to you.
All right, thank you. Yes, great presentation, and we do have a few questions. When do you anticipate revenue to start showing up on the books from the recently announced AB InBev deal?
Q1 2021. It's behind us. So that's already booked, and we're seeing rapid growth in Q2 and beyond.
Fantastic. What is the status of the smart city security deployment in Mexico City? And will there be expansion into other Latin America countries beyond Mexico?
Yeah, absolutely. There will be expansion. I can't go into the details, but we have sovereign government engagements right now, perhaps 6 or 7. And because we broke the back of the economic, comparatively speaking, we're deploying our networks for 1/10 of the cost in competitive forces, and we're doing more with that 1/10 actually. So I think we've got a really unique, defined runway to get that going quickly. It's a land grab. We've got to move quickly, and of course, with partners like Intel, we have the capacity to move quickly. And as in a yet unnamed systems integrator, we haven't announced it yet, but that gives us the scale and the reach. So all of those boxes have been checked, and we're ready to deploy in Latin America more aggressively now, and some of them are already in the final stages. Last part of that question was, what's our cadence right now? Well, there's 8,000 cameras deployed in Mexico City as of this moment. Not all of them are connected to our digital infrastructure for processing or analytics yet, but that's the process that we're engaged in at the moment as we climb up that capability.
Okay. That's good news. So with all the recent developments with major partners, when can we expect to start realizing revenues on the financials? And what is your conservative guidance for revenue bookings in fiscal 2021?
My bookings guidance is 12 to 18 million, 15 to 20 million in that neighborhood. It's a bookings guidance, so it's SaaS revenue. SaaS it's like an inverted pyramid. It has a narrow base, and then it climbs. 2 goes to 4, goes to 8, etc. So as long as we do that, we set ourselves up as an organization to continue to grow that into the future. And we're beginning to book the revenue that's allowing us to assert that argument pretty successfully now. You're going to see it start building in Q1, Q2, Q3, and beyond. And as a CEO, I'm beginning to message the organization not only on a billings cadence, which is the amount of money that's been recognized as revenue, but a backlog cadence. This is the amount of money that represents the backlog of contract revenue. So the latter is a leading indicator that will grow quarter over quarter and will begin to give shareholders some idea of what's coming, sort of remove some of the risk as we go forward.
So besides the partnerships with multiple billion-dollar channel partners, what are some of the biggest improvements to the company that shareholders should notice moving forward?
So repeat that question again. Your audio glitched a little bit in the middle. Sorry.
I apologize. Besides the partnerships with multiple billion-dollar channel partners, what are some of the biggest improvements to the company that shareholders should notice moving forward?
Yeah, well, we're very proud. We're a technology company, and although I'm the CEO and I get most prideful on the securing of revenue, that to any outside viewer would be obviously identified as success, I also get a little bit of my inner geek. We did a development initiative spurred by an introduction by Intel to Ability Corp out of Taiwan, where we put our software logic directly on the camera. And that is the first in the world. And we're super excited about it. I appreciate it doesn't quite compute to retail shareholders, but as an advancement, as a testimony to the fact that we're moving innovation aggressively forward with key partners that are all in the, this particular company is $1 billion company out of Taiwan, and we're a small micro cap, and we've been able to do that together. We've since this week fortified in a more formal fashion our relationship with these guys. So we're going to continue to drive that innovation. And I'm actually most proud of that, frankly.
Fantastic. Can you provide any updates on how the relationships with Embera and WestRock are progressing?
Yeah, WestRock, we have a long-standing, perhaps a 2-year relationship with WestRock. That relationship is in revenue. We're generating revenue. We've got more coming. We had last quarter, Q1, and more coming this quarter. And there's a fairly significant announcement with WestRock planned for the middle of the second quarter. We as an industry haven't attended a trade show in 14, 15 months, and we're going to attend a major trade show with WestRock, announcing a few major combined initiatives with them and others in August. And that we're excited about that, and we think that's going to be important for the industry, not just the two companies.
Fantastic. So what is the significance and value of edge computing? And how will the recently announced MOU with Ability Enterprise Camera Tech help bolster interest and expand current networks, and expand upon that a little bit and what they bring to the table in regards to their connections?
Sure. And the very simple way to understand that deal is it's more with less, right? It may have in the past cost $10 million to deploy 1,000 cameras. Now we're deploying 1,000 cameras with $1 million. So it's completely disruptive in the marketplace. And what should be said when you say that is, with that $1 million deployment, you're actually doing considerably more from an analytics point of view than you were with the $10 million, which were in the dumb camera universe. Now we're doing it with smart cameras. By that, I mean artificial intelligence running on the cameras or near to the cameras. The innovation with Ability is that we're doing that compute directly on the camera. We aren't having that computer talk to a camera. They are one. And that's important because it actually significantly lowers the cost of entry and creates enormous economic disruption in the category.
Well, so talk about the recent $640 million financing announcement into Trax by SoftBank and BlackRock, and noticing how they have computer vision tech focused in the retail space. So is this competition that you are concerned about, or do you see it as a sign that the category is hitting an inflection point that visibility can actually capitalize on?
There was a time in my career, which is now long in the tooth, that I used to get really kind of down the dumps by the announcement by competitors of significant breakthrough progress. No longer, especially in this category, which requires religious or, we are converting people. We are evangelizing the category at the moment. So when I hear Trax Retail, who are a portion of their business is competitive to us, perhaps 10 to 15%, but they're getting this ridiculous unicorn valuation, which is great for the industry because it validates the compound annual growth rate. It validates the addressable market. It's good for the industry to see this. And I've been watching Trax for 6 or 7 years, and they've done a wonderful job. But they spend a lot of time with their computer vision solutions doing things like inventory management, planogram compliance, which are valuable, but do not sit in the same category as us. We are complementary in the whole initiative to make the store more digital. So I'm delighted by it because I get to point to it and say, this is where the marketplace is going. And the market itself is so big that it doesn't represent clear and present danger to visibility at the moment.
Talk a little bit more about competition. Someone says, you guys are doing great, by the way. So there you go. But they're wondering who the competition is. So talk a little bit about who you see your competitors are.
Well, if I'm allowed to go back, I'm going to highlight one slide because it does talk a little bit about, allows me to answer that question with a little bit more direction. We have 3 software modules. Data Capture is the anonymous analytics module. And in the competitive universe, there's 2 or 3 players, a French company, a Florida-based company, and us. We basically carve up the marketplace in, in equal allotments. Vision Capture is a content management system, and there might be 600 competitors in that category. It is crowded. In the security space, where we're using facial recognition and license plate detection, we have a uniqueness because we're sort of the Swiss Army knife. We do all of those measurement capabilities within the same software construct. We're not just a license plate recognition system. We are that plus other things. And we have 3 or 4 competitors in that category. But here's the punchline. None of our competitors sit in each of these 3 areas. We're the only one that span all 3. And if you take a look at the Anheuser-Busch deal in Mexico, it actually consumes all 3 of these modules. So that deal was unique to us. If you're looking for one vendor to supply all those pieces, we are the only vendor on the planet that can do that. Now, I'm not Pollyanna enough to think that that's a sustainable advantage for us that will forever be ahead. But we are now, and that's our competitive advantage. We're continuing to push the envelope. We're continuing to innovate. And in technology, that's the only way to maintain a competitive edge.
Thank you for that answer. Speaking about your video security products, have you targeted any homeowners associations? Are you in any HOA communities currently?
We have some strategic plans which are in play right now to do U.S. and Canadian deployments. There are multiple target markets for those initiatives. HOA is 1, gated communities. Critical infrastructure is 2, schools, hospitals, and smart buildings is 3. But HOA is a really important one because in HOA, we don't have the social justice headwinds that would keep us from selling our solutions to a police force, as an example. We sell it to people on the ground. It's the bottom-up social media component of it, not Big Brother. And that, frankly, is just a little bit more of a streamlined way to enter the marketplace to people that have a shared interest. They want to secure their community. What was really interesting about Mexico and what drove adoption in Mexico, most notably, is the desire of individuals to assume control of their own security. It not necessarily is because of non-trusting of police. It's not that. It's if we're going to control our neighborhood, we can control our own security. And that is a similar initiative that maybe an HOA or a gated community might be interested in doing. So it's a target market for us.
Okay. You touched on this, but we have a few questions concerning, does this technology infringe upon individuals' privacy rights with having their face recorded and their subsequent reactions analyzed and stored without their knowledge and consent? So where is this information stored and for how long of a period of time?
Well, it's not stored. That's the most important consideration, and the one that gets us out of conflict with either the Illinois privacy rules, which are aggressive, California privacy, California CCPA, California Consumer Privacy Act, and most notably GDPR, which is the grandfather of them all, which is the EU standards, which most of American environments are modeling their privacy rules on. We collect anonymous data. We don't know that this is Anna. We just understand gender, we understand age, and we understand sentiment on a metadata level, a high level level, if that's not redundant. So, and we collect that for the purposes of brand analytics. So we don't store the data, we analyze the data, and nothing is stored on the system in the instance of data capture or vision capture. In the security category, the only places where we store is if there's a list of bad guys who have frequented a location and have been banned from that location. And that's legitimate, legally approved application of storage for the purposes of, it's the same thing as the loss prevention officer wandering a target with a clipboard and with pictures of people who have been banned from the facility, except it's electronic. So we don't run afoul of any of those rules, but I have to say it's an enlightened question because we have this conversation every single day, and we expose the elements of our organization and of our technology that give people the comfort that we're actually not cowboys, that we're actually complying with the rules as they are stated.
Got it. Thank you for that. Next question. 2020 revenues were forecasted to be between 12.5 million and 19.5 million based on the corporate presentation in March. Did Visibility meet those revenue targets for 2020? And when will Visibility be profitable?
We did not meet those targets. There was a global pandemic that got a little bit in the way. I'm not blaming everything on that, but we're heavily exposed to retail. And even though I'm happy saying that we had no projects, cancel outright, we had multiple projects delay. And in terms of deployment in like Mexico City, the movement is so restricted, and this is on the security side of the business, movement is so restricted that you can't get out there and do installations. So of course it impacts revenue. In terms of profitability, we're projecting that the back end of Q3 of this year or the first part of Q4 of this year will turn the corner on a month-to-month basis on profitability.
When can your technology scale, and what markets are you most focused on right now?
Just as a practical matter, we're very focused on the Latin American market. We have both a very large security deployment happening there and a very large, the largest in the world, retail network deployment going on in Latin America. We're not exclusively focused there, but a lot of our success or failure as an organization is dependent upon excellent and perfect execution on each of those two deals. So as a practical matter, we spend a bunch of our time ensuring that we get those deployed. It's not the only thing we're doing, and of course, very quickly we'll be announcing some similar deployments in other areas of the world. But as a practical matter, that's where we spend a chunk of our time, effort, and resources.
Can you talk about some of those other technologies in the future
that we'll be adding to this? Mm-hmm. Some work that we're doing right now in the critical infrastructure, which I can't go into too much detail right now. But if you think about an oil refinery or a solar farm or a mine in the middle of nowhere, they all have unique security requirements or operational requirements, which computer vision is uniquely equipped to address. And so we're right now working on development with key partners in that area that will bolt on capabilities for operational efficiency for critical infrastructure, as an example, into our products, so that the phrase you hear in our business is the single pane of glass. I want one operating platform that I can see everything I need to see about my remote solar farm that's 400 miles into the Nevada desert, as an example. So that's the kind of thing that we'll be expanding our footprint into now and in the future.
So are there any plans for uplisting from OTC Pink? And what do you say to shareholders hesitant about investing more into the company?
Well, two separate questions. Right now, our long-term trajectory is the NASDAQ small cap, but they have initial listing requirements that we're not even close to at the moment. So, my focus is right now on driving as much momentum and liquidity into the two listings that we have right now, or three, I guess, and Frankfurt would be included, CSE in Canada and the Pinks in the USA. And then the second question was, why would investors invest now? I've been around a while. Everyone likes to find a stock before it gets widely known. And we're, by every metric that you can possibly look at, we have been incubating for 2 or 3 years. We've validated the proofs of concepts. We've done the necessary pieces to evangelize and educate our marketplace. And we're absolutely, without question, because of the deal flow and because of the revenue line, we're inflecting. And that's exactly the time when you should be buying a stock, in my opinion. We all want to find out the diamonds in the rough. And that, to me, is exactly where we are at the moment. Are you expecting investors to see much dilution in the stock? Oh, no, we've had enough. And the last financing had a kind of a hidden gift for us. And that hidden gift was that we issued a warrant that is now 4 times in the money and is slowly, although pretty deliberately, coming into the company, and which really provides for us a pocket financing in the neighborhood of, it would have been 10 million, and now we've got half of that in to the company. So we really don't need to tap the market again for any additional funds. We have what we need to get the job done. Fantastic. Last question, Jay. What do you project will be the greatest catalyst in bringing more attention to your company over the next year? A couple of critical commercial partnerships that, certainly the ABI deal. That is a joint venture which will be constituted in the next 30 to 45 days, and will really kind of eliminate any risk that might, in the minds of the investors, be attached to that deal at the moment. And I appreciate that there might be a little bit. So that'll get done soon. That'll de-risk the company considerably. And a couple other commercial deals we have. Again, we tend to do business with very, very large companies. And when those get sort of understood and digested by the marketplace, and they're in the hopper, then I think we'll be viewed to be a little bit less risky than we are at the moment. Not that we're considered to be risky. I think we'll get a significant re-rate on the stock, and people will begin to understand we've got a real opportunity to do something significant here. Any closing remarks? No, I appreciate the time, and I'm excited about our future. So are we. Thank you so much for joining us. Fantastic presentation. Thank you for answering all these questions, Jay. Great presentation. Thank you, Anna. Thank you. All right. Well, everyone, that's it for this Emerging Growth Conference. We are thrilled to bring all these fascinating companies in many different sectors to you all around the world. We have people tuning in all around the world. So thank you so much for everyone joining. On behalf of all of us at Emerging Growth, thanks to our presenters, all of our attendees for making this the 6th Emerging Growth Conference such a great success. Remember, a complete replay of these conferences separated by company will be available on the Emerging Growth Conference YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Emerging Growth Conference. Please subscribe there. And always follow us on Twitter at Emerging Growth C. We post all new information to Twitter first. I'm Anna Berry, and on behalf of myself and everybody who made this event possible, I want to wish you all a great rest of your day, a productive, profitable week, and we'll see you back here very soon. Thank you all for joining us.